This is the Oppo Find N5. This might be the best foldable phone I have ever tested, and I feel like this is the future of what the foldable phones should be like. Well, we did test a couple of foldables at this point, and we have many of them on the market, but I feel like the Oppo Find N5 is starting to become what I feel like the future is supposed to be. But what does it have? How good is it? And could it be your next daily driver? So this phone, as many of the flagships of 2025, is running on the Snapdragon 8 Elite, meaning you can play all the modern games at the highest quality settings. And it's just blazing fast for everyday normal operation. And pair it with 16GB of RAM, it's just overall just a super quick, snappy phone to use. But because it's a foldable, it's gonna have a little bit harder time with heat dissipation. So depending on your usage, you might feel it or you might not. For me personally, for daily usage, this has no problems with its heating. But just going over how it's built, as the first thing, I have to say it's a really nice phone in hand. It has like this nice back that looks as if it was like ceramic, kind of like a rock formation. It's really nice. Depending on the light, you might see or you might not see it, but overall it's a very nice, good looking phone. In my opinion, it's super nice looking in person. I feel like it's really hard to show it on camera, and depending on the light, you can kind of make it out to be. But overall, in my opinion, just for the looks of it, it looks like a proper 2025 flagship phone with a really good design. Really, the Oppo is standing out as in terms of the logo on the bottom here, depending on the light, like I said, and the nice Hasselblad collaborated cameras on the back with a nice normal slab phone design on the front. But it is a little bit to the side. The side that has the hinge is squarish, where the other side is rounded off. In my opinion, it looks a little bit out of place, but it has to be like this because of the way it's made. But other than that, I would say it's pretty nice in hand and can be used normally like a normal phone. In hand, it doesn't feel like a foldable. It feels like a traditional normal phone. It feels like the aspect ratio, the size, the width, any size, any width you take from it looks like a traditional phone. Just that you see that there is some kind of a cutout because there is two screens. And when we open that up, we go into the middle. And I just love that animation. I could just do that for the whole day. It's just so smooth and nice. And that brings us to the point of the video about the screens. First off, we have a 6.62 AMOLED display that can go up to 120 Hz. And it's a really nice display that we have on the front screen, which is a very nice screen. It's a nice good aspect ratio for a foldable, meaning that you can really use it like a daily driver, like a normal smartphone that you'd have for your daily usage, just a normal slab phone. But then we have the 8.12-inch display in the middle, and this display is just incredible. One thing that I love about it, compared to other foldables that we've tested, we've seen over the years, it seems like the crease is pretty much gone. Especially if you're looking at it straight on, there's no way you're gonna see a crease on it. There's just no way. This is how good it is. And you can only see it, even from the sides, it's not really visible until you put it in the right spot to really hit the light on the crease. If you don't have it, you start to really not see it. It is really minimal. And I feel like just using it daily, you don't see it. And this is one thing that I love about this phone. When I tested out different foldables, I felt like I've always got distracted of the fold. Like the crease was always there, like subconsciously I would look at it, I would just not like it, but here it's not visible, especially if you're looking at it straight on, and even under touch you don't really feel it as much. Well, while you do feel it, it's just not as evident as the other ones, and I feel like this just makes it so easy to use, like I'm using right now. It's super lightweight, super nice. Just the screen is really nice, and the aspect ratio is pretty good too. So the inside screen is amazing too. Both those screens, both the foldable and the out screen, they both are really sharp because of the high resolution that they all have. Both the front screen and the foldable screen can go up to 120 Hz. So this screen can go up to 120 Hz and this one too. So you can really take advantage of that when gaming. And I have to do it one more time. That animation just never gets old. And by the way, that, whole mechanism just works so nice, so smooth, and it just really nicely works. It's just a really nice, smooth operation. And I just noticed that it actually goes inside the phone, so that from this side, there is no, crease, no fold, nothing. It just goes inside of the two sides, so it's really, really nice in that regard. And to be honest, this is the first time I've actually really enjoyed using a Fold because of the way it's made. It is really lightweight. When folded up, it's just a normal slab phone. It just feels like pretty much close to my daily driver, which is the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, which has also the camera bump on the back. So it's pretty much like having the same phone in hand. Especially when you could put in the included case on it, it just feels pretty similar. And once again, before you ask, the hinge goes inside the phone, while this just goes over the phone. That's how they made it, but it looks really nice and it works. But what really made me excited about this phone is the usability. It's really lightweight, it's really nicely made. It feels like a normal traditional phone. I mean, literally, if you split it open and I showed you like this, you would notice that it's barely more than the USB-C. I mean, literally, there's no way they can pretty much make it any smaller at this point. And this just makes it amazing because this is how much they can do, and I feel like this is the way to go. This just makes it like a normal traditional phone for everyday usage. And then, for example, I was sitting at my desk just, waiting for things to render on my computer. I just opened it up and I was watching YouTube like this. And because it's super lightweight and thin, I felt like I was watching on a normal screen, a normal smartphone. But there was so much more screen at stake because I was using the full width of it. So I was using pretty much like a full screen on a normal smartphone that you would have to hold like this, which is just uncomfortable. I was holding it like this and it was super, super comfortable. And I had all the screen estate. I could read the comments, watch the video in the full resolution. That was just an extremely cool experience that really just jumped at me like, I could live with that. That could be an amazing thing. This is the future of a phone. I feel like this is what the phones are gonna be, all of them in the future. This is like what we are heading to, and Oppo really outdone themselves with this. Because of the size, the speakers aren't the greatest that I've seen on a smartphone, but they are stereo speakers, and there's one on the top and one on the bottom. So if you're watching like this, it's pretty much like a top and bottom. If this like this, it's a stereo speaker setup. But if you open it up, you have speakers on the upper side and no speakers on the bottom. So it's a little bit more like here. So if you're gaming, for example, and you're holding it like this, it's actually pretty good because you're not putting your hands over the speakers because they're on the upper part, which is pretty good. So I feel like it's a really nice placement and it just feels really nice when you're watching the videos. But it's better if you use it like this instead of like this, because then you have speakers on one side and then none on the other. So I would really go for this orientation. So you have two speakers on the top side. It's really nice and they're pretty good. I really like it, and I really like it that they're stereo speakers, so you have two speakers and just work really nice with this for media consumption. It's just overall a really nice media consumption daily driver phone. Like I said, I definitely could see myself using this as my daily driver. As for the fingerprint, I actually love it when it's on the screen, but I guess with the foldables it's a little bit of a different situation because you never know which screen someone might be using. So instead, there is a fingerprint sensor on the power button on the side. As you can see, it's just on the side and it's pretty simple, easy to use, right where your finger can go. It's just your muscle memory. I'm used to touching the screen and here you touch it on the side, but it's working pretty nice. On the side also you find one switch and it's like three switches. So one is for the ring, then we have the middle one which is vibrate, and the one for silent, and that is like a functioning key, but it's really high, so you kind of have to use two hands or just use one, but really high, but it's there. Another feature of the Oppo Find N5 is the battery. The battery is 5600 mAh battery, and seeing how thin this phone is, this is the first thing that Evie told me, like, how is the battery, when you think about it, how thin this is, how much the screens are taking space, especially on this side there's two screens, the speakers, when you take everything in consideration, the battery here is incredible. They really just, at this point this is sorcery that they put 5600 mAh battery in a smartphone this thin, this portable, and this just overall usable. So it's really incredible and it holds really nicely. And you have 80 watt charging on the smartphone. Also, you have 50 watt wireless charging. You can pretty much fully charge it in about 15 minutes, which is incredible. Like I said, once again, for a smartphone that is this nice and futuristic. And then we come to the cameras on the back. This is a collaboration with Hasselblad, and it's a triple camera setup with a main 50 megapixel camera sensor. Then we have a telephoto, which is another 50 megapixel camera sensor. And last but not least, we have an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle lens. So you're pretty much covered on all grounds, from ultra wide angle lens to a telephoto lens. While the smartphones of 2025 tend to have even more lenses at this point, it's still nice that we're covered in all ranges, from ultra wide to a telephoto. But I have to say that this is not on par with other flagships of 2025. I feel like the flagships of 2025 are better than this, even though there is collaboration with Hasselblad and the camera bump is a little bit off the camera. I feel like overall it is not the best camera I've tested and is nowhere close to the best ones, like the Xiaomi 15 Ultra or the Vivo X200 Pro. But then again, those smartphones usually cost as much as this, but they don't have the foldable feature. So it just makes sense that a smartphone at the same price cannot have everything that the other one has and even more. So this is a compromise. I feel like for many, this camera is still gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be probably better than most cameras that you have on a smartphone. But if you're someone like me that has the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, 15 Ultra, the Vivo X200 Pro, and you're used to having the best of the best in terms of camera quality, then this is gonna feel like it's a downgrade. So it's dependent on user and user experience, and also what you're expecting from the camera. You can record videos in up to 4K 60 frames per second on the telephoto and the main camera sensor, and 4K 30 frames per second or Full HD 60 frames per second on the ultra wide. And also you have a selfie camera on the front and the same exact selfie camera on the opened side. So pretty much you have everything that you would need from a daily driver. And for many, this is gonna be still a great photo performance. Like I said, you just cannot have everything. And while I wish this had an amazing camera like the other ones, it is still great. It's just not as good as the other ones. And because of that, you kind of have to understand that, well, you can't have everything at the same price. So if it did have, I would see no reason to get any other phone than this. But other than that, this is definitely a smartphone, especially the foldable, that I would see myself using as a daily driver. I feel like it looks elegant, it feels premium, and it just feels like a premium traditional slab phone, but with that foldable screen in the middle. This, in my opinion, is just incredible. If you're interested in this one, check out the link below. I'm gonna link down Trading Shenzhen where you can get this smartphone from. I feel like this is the future of smartphones. And I really am excited to see how the foldables go from that. I feel like with many of them, like every generation, there's just like a nice stride forward. So yeah, like I said, this is incredible. This is the future. If you have any more questions about the Oppo Find N5, let me know in the comment section down below. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again, and I will see you next time.